Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dark Pixel Podcast. My name is Mike.
I'm Len. I'm Kason.
And I'm Daria.
All right.
Hi, Daria.
Hi.
Welcome.
Daria, welcome to the podcast. I want to let everybody know what you do over on your channel, what your channel name is and everything.
I run a RPG-centric YouTube channel called, appropriately enough, DariaPlays RPGs. I don't really play RPGs, but I do review them. So
Cool.
So maybe it's not that appropriately named. But yeah, I'm really kind of centric on, classic 8-bit through, I think 32 is probably the highest I've gone so far.
No 33, 34-bit.
Nah. Like nice round hexy numbers.
So, my favorite video that I have seen on your channel so far was the one that you did about the SNES fans' guide to Sega Genesis RPGs. I thought that was a really cool video, really cool idea. There's a lot of games on there. A lot of games on there that I was like, dude, I really want to try that now. So yeah, go check out Daria Plays, and particularly that video because thought it was awesome. If you guys, because most of people who a lot of people who watch us definitely grew up playing SNES RPGs, but maybe not some of these obscure Sega games. So check it out, see if there's anything there for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never too late to try Sega.
Sega. Okay, so we're going to jump into our first topic, which is we want to talk a little bit about the Nintendo Direct that happened last week. A lot of new stuff announced.
Yeah, it was huge. That's probably the best Direct since last E3.
Yeah, it was a good one, for sure. The first thing of note, at least as far as I'm concerned, was that they did the Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. They brought that to the 3DS, what was that, last year, I think it was?
Yeah.
I think so.
And then now they're bringing Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story to the 3DS. But the weird thing about it is that it's a 2019 game. And they're announcing it now.
That's so strange.
Like the idea, plenty of time to prepare for this.
I guess, but Nintendo, like specifically recently, they've been really particular about not announcing games too far ahead of time, and they do all these Nintendo Directs to announce stuff that's gonna come soon, and they're not. It's just really strange that they threw that in the mix. They had enough content. It's not like this Direct was hurting for stuff to talk about. I don't know why. It's weird.
Maybe they just wanted to really assure people that 3DS isn't going anywhere. Don't worry. We're still making games.
You know what? Yeah, through 2019.
That is actually not a bad point.
Yeah.
That's not a bad point because they had, 4 games that they talked about on 3DS. So, because I was thinking about it, I was like, not only is it a 2019 release, and they rarely talk about games that far in advance on Nintendo Direct, but it's a 3DS game, which is a system that's kind of on the way out. But I guess that must be what it is that they just had nothing else on 3DS that they could talk about. So they needed to get something else in there.
Yeah, I mean, you wait too long, and as soon as people start thinking, oh, they're definitely done making games for this, people will stop buying.
Yeah, sales will drop
very quickly. Yeah. So as long as there's at least one new game on the horizon, it's like there's hope for this thing.
That is
sell some more copies.
Yeah, don't trade in your systems yet.
Not yet.
Play Mario and Luigi again.
It would be crazy if they release another 3DS XXL,
another
2DS.
Jesus.
It's as big as a CRT.
Doesn't need to be bigger. It's just, more.
Just another one.
Yeah, just another. I wonder if they would do that.
One of the things I wonder, because this game, I played this game 2 years ago on the DS. And it's a phenomenal game. I really, really enjoyed it. Like the battle system, there's a question later about battle systems. I really love the battle system in this game. But there's parts and they showed it where you turn it sideways, and then you have almost the giant mecha battles between giant Bowser and a giant castle thing. Very different battles like that throughout the game. But there was a lot of things you were supposed to do where it was blowing into the mic and that kind of DS.
Right.
A lot of DS games have that
stuff. Yeah.
But haven't they relocated the mic position now? It used to be smack dab, kind of in the middle.
Yeah, I don't even know. I've never used the mic at all.
And I think it's up. I'll have to go grab my. But I think the mic is more towards the front and the side now. So it's if you're doing that, you're you're gonna be
like looking away.
it's
from
not
the
like ideal.
Let me turn my DS upside down and blow on its ass. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, it's just what I'm saying is this is not the definitive edition of the game for that reason alone.
For that reason, that's the only one. That's the only reason you should buy the DS version right now. Don't come into this one.
Is there anything else on 3DS that you think was like notable?
Well, Luigi's Mansion, because
cool.
I think a lot of people would have expected that as a Switch.
Exactly.
Release, but again,
people
it
were
might
angry.
Be... Oh yeah.
I saw on Twitter people are just like mad that it wasn't a Switch title.
Yeah, and I had heard. I think Emily Rogers on Twitter was saying it had something to do with the engine that Luigi's Mansion ran on. That the 3DS was somehow like it was able to be done a lot quicker,
like plug and play
on the 3DS than it would have been on the Switch. And they just kind of wanted to get it out there. I don't know why they were in such a hurry, but still.
Because of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon that was on the 3DS, basically sequel to the original.
I also think Mario Sunshine might just be making an appearance on the Switch, so that may be like they're just kind of splitting, they're diversifying, they're splitting things up. Like the Switch will continue to get the remakes, I think, but
yeah. Yeah, so that was it for this 3DS stuff, but I was pretty surprised by Okami HD on the Switch.
That's right. Yeah.
I liked Okami pretty well I played the Wii version, but I know it was also on PlayStation 2. Really, really, really good game. So that's cool. Dark Souls had its
the amiibo.
Release. Oh yeah, the amiibo too. That's the Solaire. Yeah.
Which does that mean that he's going to be in Smash? That is the question.
Ooh, that's the question.
That is the question. We put the amiibo out for...
You spoiled it.
Something. Actually, that's...
Smash? What is Smash?
Probably a good guess.
We're talking about DLC for the Wii U Smash, not...
Smash has got a lot less friendlier.
Yeah, that actually is a good question, whether or not Solaire would... that'd be really sweet if he was.
That would be pretty cool.
But May 25th is the release date for Dark Souls Remastered on the Switch. They're also doing a big network test, beta test before that. I mean, that's going to be really interesting. I wonder... I don't know. I wonder how many people are going to be like into Dark Souls on the Switch. I'm guessing a lot, but...
Any Nintendo, any hardcore Nintendo fan, there's a lot of them that only own Nintendo products. I'm sure there's a base there.
Finally,
I wonder
to dive into it.
Do we have
and
any
there definitely
numbers?
people are eating up that let me take it to go, let me put it on my TV, let me take it portable.
That is the big selling point. Yeah. But I'm curious, what about Skyrim on the Switch? How well did that sell? Do we have?
That's a good question.
Because that would be a pretty good indicator for Nintendo people who just buy Nintendo and they never really played that game before and they wanted to buy it on the Switch.
I think all of those have sold well. I don't know what the numbers are.
In that case, I'd say if Skyrim sold well, then this game will too, because they're so similar in a lot of ways. Not necessarily in the gameplay, but in the time they were released and how popular they became. And
so, according to VG charts, which is not always the most reliable thing.
Not always, but sometimes they cite their sources, which is fun.
They have the Switch right now at 0.59 million, so 590,000
for Skyrim.
That's pretty good
for Skyrim. But
that's
I mean, the PlayStation 4 version is at 600,000, so it's like right on par with the PlayStation 4 version.
Well, you can't ask for more than that. A lot of times, VG charts only includes the first week of sales. Also, they just don't have updated data after that. That's for true. Whatever reason, and a lot of times the companies themselves don't provide updated data. So that could just be in the first week. It could also be lifetime. I don't know.
Good question, but yeah. So I know. Who knows? We'll find out. But they're doing a stress test. For Dark Souls. So look forward to that. Because
their physics engine is tied to the frame rate, so it better run smooth, right?
They fix that because this is supposed to be the enhanced edition.
Yeah, I think this version's supposed to be. I think this version's supposed to be pretty smooth in terms of frame rate, but
that's good.
Okay, here's the big one though. Here's the big one for our channel. Octopath Traveler has a release date.
Yes, that's true, and it's called Octopath Traveler. So
I
the
was really
placeholder
rooting
title
for
ended up being the real
Octopus
title.
Trousers, but you know, that's my advice.
Hey,
That would be the 3DS version.
Daria,
Yeah.
Daria, did you play the demo for Octopath Traveler at all?
I did not, but I don't have a Switch, so
Oh, you don't?
Okay.
I don't.
You're
is
missing
it-
out. It's really cool.
Is it something that looks
thanks for
interesting
rubbing it
to
in.
you?
Hey, you gotta do it.
What are your feelings on it just by like seeing the trailers and stuff for it? Is
Oh, it
something
looks
that you'd be-
gorgeous. Like that. No, that
Yeah.
definitely looks like something I would love. And 15 years from now, when I get around to it, I'll probably enjoy the hell out of it.
When it's a retro game again.
Yes, when it's retro, then it'll
Yeah.
be on brand for me.
Yeah, I'm
It's-
playing through Chrono Cross for the first time right now for the channel and stuff. So
I'm sorry.
it's for me, it's kind of the same way. It's like, oh, these great games coming out. I'm still trying to get to freaking Grandia and stuff. So
Games released more than 10 years ago. Yeah.
I'm really excited for Octopath Traveler though. This is probably my most anticipated game of the year. I've said it many times.
I think so. And when they announced a little bit more about how you can actually mix job classes to some degree, not
looks
completely,
sweet.
but you can give certain abilities. That's really cool. That makes the game way more dynamic.
That's going to get real complicated because they were just showing
Yeah, 'cause
those
there's
4
8.
classes they've talked about
Yeah.
so far.
That's right.
There's
They
gonna
announced
be
2 more classes.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they were. though.
Merchant
That'll be cool.
and helper dude.
Helper.
Apothecary or something like that.
Apothecary.
Oh,
Yeah.
Apothecary.
Sure, Helper
yeah.
Dude is his official name.
Helper.
Yeah,
It
looking
looks
so good though. And I love the idea of mixing classes. Definitely adds a new element to it that I'm very excited about. And July 13th is the official release, so we know when it's coming out.
Yeah, that's cool. That's right after E3.
Yes, I'm hoping they'll have another demo at E3 to play, so I can
that'd be cool.
get my hands on it again. So yeah, that looks awesome. Let's see, other things that Undertale coming to the Switch.
Yeah. That was a brief thing.
What's so funny about that was that, I mean, it's totally the developer's personality. For anyone who's played Undertale, like it's very witty, very just like fun, funny, like super...
sometimes dry humor, sometimes dark humor. Yeah.
But I love how at the end of that he puts coming someday or coming eventually or something like that. And it was like Nintendo was totally cool with that. They just like made that part of their presentation. But it's like it's coming eventually. I've never seen anything like that where they don't
Nintendo.
they don't have a release date. I saw a release date. They'll usually say the year or they'll say coming soon. But it's just like coming eventually gives it this. Go ahead.
Like remember when they announced their new Pokemon game last year? And the guy, it was just like, we're making a new Pokemon game. And then that was literally his whole announcement. And the camera left, and it went back to Koizumi in front of the headquarters. And it was like, what was that? That was weird. But okay, they're making it. Sweet. Maybe one day we'll see it. But that's the only thing I can think of that's like kind of similar.
That was the water is wet announcement. Like a first Pokemon.
Captain
Obvious.
So yeah, if you haven't played Undertale, I really like it a lot. There's, I mean, kind of a very passionate fan base that has annoyed a lot of people, and so a lot of people dislike Undertale because of the fan base. But I really enjoyed it, and so if you haven't played it, you got to Switch. Look forward to that. Not that I'm going to play this one, but I did think it was notable that Crash Bandicoot is coming to a Nintendo console.
That probably surprised me almost as much as the last one.
That's the craziest.
That's
in my opinion,
that
that's
is
the craziest
mascot
announcement of the whole thing.
Sony.
Because if you remember growing up, like watching those commercials where Crash Bandicoot is literally outside Nintendo HQ trolling them, like you guys suck and everything, and just hammering into it with that like '90s vibe of just like edge in your face, you know, like that was Crash Bandicoot's thing.
That was.
It's just freaking bonkers. It's like somebody would after the direct tweeted out something about world peace, and it was like showing Sonic Forces on the Switch, and Crash Insane Trilogy or whatever this is called on the Switch. What else was there? Crap, I can't remember what all, but it was just like, holy crap.
Another like Sega or PlayStation franchise
something
or something
like that, but it was just
something.
Like, what the, Minecraft.
Of course, because Microsoft. That's true. Yeah,
anyways,
that's a good point.
Anyways, surprising.
Man, and then Monster Hunter's on the PlayStation. Everyone's just kind of like doing what they do. But the funny thing is, what was it about? About Crash. So Spyro, they're remastering Spyro as well.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, and I believe it was the same company that was remastering Spyro as was doing Crash. There's entirely a good chance that Spyro could also come to the Switch.
Weird.
Which is like, these
That
are
would
the
be
classic PlayStation games.
That would be
Mascot
weird.
of the PlayStation is on Nintendo.
Well, I mean, like
Might
Wii
be a
U
Smash.
had Skylanders, so that's not
That's
that
true.
strange.
That's
true.
true. That's true. Because that's
Yeah.
Spyro's world,
Yeah.
whatever that world's
Spyro's
called.
World on the
That's
Wii
true.
U.
But Crash could be in Smash Brothers, which is crazy.
That would be way nuts.
Oh,
Holy
crap.
crap.
Why not though? I mean, they got Pac-Man, Sonic, Snake Solid. Like he could do it if he's going to be on their system.
Huh? I thought of
He
that.
could be in their games.
Wow. What Smash Brothers?
Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah. So there's
What?
one more thing. One
Oh, yeah.
more thing.
Let's see.
Was
South
there
Park.
something else you wanna talk
South
about?
Park.
That's right.
that.
The fractured butthole. That was wonderful.
It's kind of not something you expect to see on a Nintendo console.
No.
Dude, that Mario Tennis game, I don't know what it is. I'm not all about that.
You're not.
It
I
doesn't,
haven't
crap.
doesn't look cool to me, dude.
been into the Mario games ever since like the N64 because they keep adding these power shot, power ups, items stuff
Did you notice they mentioned specifically there's just a mode that turns
to turn it off. That's cool. I mean, I'd love to play it. Those games are always super fun, but I never want to play it with that mode on.
Because
So I'd
the
probably
racket health,
do that.
like,
that was
you
weird.
can
I was
take
like,
3 of those hits, and then it's like
but unless you count it on
racket
time,
breaks,
and then
yeah.
it's like.
So they're adding
that's
video
crazy.
gamey stuff that makes it more than just like a back and forth.
I just want to play tennis, man. I just want to.
I want a console one that plays like the GBA, like RPG
Yes!
hybrid
Yes!
one.
Yes!
That would be all over.
And you create a character and you level them up.
Yeah.
All the
That's
drama.
what I want too. That's all I want from Mario Tennis is
Well,
that.
And what was cool is that you could transfer that Game Boy Advance data to your N64 through the little pack thing in the controller, and you could play with that character in the N64, and that was really cool.
Yeah, that was like
Huh.
your stats.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Totally
that's how
cool.
we
It was
played
way
it.
sweet.
Oh man, they haven't really had a tennis game quite as good as that ever since.
Dude, and it was like the Harry Potter level like school drama. It was like
in GBA one?
groups, people that didn't like each other, and like you're working, but then you had to go play Quidditch, you had to go play tennis. You had to come back. Like it was legit.
That's
That made it really
hilarious.
fun though.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Splatoon 2 version 3.0.
So
I don't know what that
The
means
Octoling
exactly.
girl.
Yeah, well, okay, I have to
That
say,
was weird.
3.0 is different from the Octoling thing.
Oh, that's
3.0
just the
everyone's
patch,
getting,
right?
yeah, and they're gonna add the extra stuff. The Octoling expansion is something people have been waiting for since the first Splatoon, because
Right.
you guys probably never heard about this.
I
Maybe
remember
you did.
this.
You heard about
I
it.
heard
There
about
was somebody there was this rumor,
Yeah.
and this was like, I can't believe urban legends like this can still spread like with the way the internet is these
Uh-huh.
days. This is like how do you get the Triforce no Ocarina of Time?
Yeah, or how to get Yoshi in
But,
Pokemon.
Like how do you get Yoshi in Pokemon? There was someone who was rumored to be going around and crashing people's matches as an Octoling character in the first Splatoon, and then like corrupting people's save files. And so they're like, don't play online until Nintendo fixes this. So people quit playing Splatoon online because they're worried they're going to run into this theoretical person who was playing as an Octoling and corrupting people's saves. It was never proven to have ever happened, but someone did show that you could play as an Octoling. Like it could
They showed
happen.
that the source code of the game did have a playable Octoling character
playable-
in
Yeah,
the code
And
of the
someone's
game.
like,
that
"Oh,
never,
snap,
you never
when
could
are they
use
gonna
them.
when are they gonna make this a feature in the first game?" That never happened, obviously. And so
Right.
this for the Splatoon community is like the most exciting thing that could have happened.
Yeah,
for them.
the legend is true.
No, like it's legit, like it really is. Like
The legend is
playable
true.
Octoling. Not only that, but in the subway they're showing like other sea life that you've never seen in the game before. Like pretty much everything they showed, besides the like Pearl Marina, are like sea creatures that are like bottom feeders, which I thought was so appropriate for a subway.
Yeah.
To be populated
Oh, yeah,
with, like weird like
Bottom
isopods and like sea grapes, just like wax.
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that's so creepy and weird.
There was that big, huge thing. I can't remember.
Oh, like there's that blobfish. You know,
Whatever
like
you call it.
that fish that looks like he's like frowning with a big
Mm.
clown nose.
Yeah,
There's a character that's one of those things.
yeah, one of those
That's
freaking crazy like
It's
deep
hilarious.
sea weirdo fish. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That looks fun.
anyways, in the world of Splatoon, that was. Oh, actually, the biggest news for Splatoon is that Rank X.
Oh yeah, S
And
Plus has a new.
I will tell you
top.
why. In the first Splatoon, S rank was like the pro rank, and it was really hard to maintain that rank. But in Splatoon 2, they made it so that the level up system for ranking is a little more forgiving. So you can fail a little more and maintain your rank, which means that worse people
are
can.
up in that top.
So eventually, you have this like inertia of like everyone theoretically will reach this top rank anyway, like no matter what. So for the people who are really good and they're playing the top rank, it's full of people who are also not actually that good, and so the experience is worse for them. So everyone's been complaining about this since like August, honestly.
Wow.
And so Rank X is addressing that issue for that really hardcore crowd, that it's going to weed out the freaking noobs. So we'll see.
Right.
I'm B rank myself. That's a whole other world.
Okay. Okay. And then the last announcement, which was really cool, I think the way that they did it was Super
really
Smash Brothers. I was watching it, right, and they were talking about Splatoon, and then they were like, one more announcement, and then I was waiting for Metroid the whole time. I was like, when are they going to talk about Metroid? And then they started showing more Splatoon, and I was like, dude, Fetch, we just talked about Splatoon.
I know.
What is this?
I thought it was an animated film. I thought
It did kind of look like that.
A lot of people were saying that they also felt that way. And then she turns, it goes dark, she turns, you just see the Smash Brothers logo in her eye. And
that was cool.
That was just a very cool way of doing that. And then they backlight, like hard silhouette all the characters. You see the Breath of the Wild Link silhouette and Mario silhouette, where you can't see the face like at all. Just really, really cool. Didn't have to say anything more than that. We just know that Smash Brothers is coming to the Switch. Now,
this year, it is coming in 2018.
I've heard a lot of people saying that they think that this is still a port of the Wii U version.
Just with like updated models, or
I guess with Breath of the Wild. That's the part that to me.
He could just be a skin. I guess.
I think it's probably like an enhanced edition.
Yeah,
would be my guess.
It's coming out so soon that I would guess that, but I mean those characters look pretty different.
So Sakurai in 2016.
He said
he was working on a new game.
Right.
And
he'd also made it clear that he didn't want to do Smash all the time.
He made it clear that he was taking a break.
Right.
And then at the end of that year, he tweeted that he was working on a new game.
Yeah.
So, like, Nintendo could have made it worth his while.
Yeah, I got his salary.
I'd have been like, Sakurai, I'll give you the 7-figure, like,
we're
just
gonna
make
slide
another
you a
one
check.
of these.
Add as many zeros as you deem necessary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that's the same thing that happened to him with Brawl, I think it was. They announced Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and they were like, Masahiro Sakurai is directing. He was like, what?
Oh, he didn't know. I heard that.
He didn't even know. And so, like, I think that he has expressed in the past fatigue with making Smash Brothers games, especially with how intense the fan base for Smash Brothers can be.
Oh yeah,
and the games are just getting bigger. Like I don't
oh my gosh, so many stages.
Legitimately, I don't think you should have a roster bigger than the Wii U roster. I think if you're adding other characters like Crash or whatever,
Splatoon.
You need to take out in Splatoon characters. You need to take out some Fire Emblem characters.
Yeah, I know. There's like 12 Fire Emblem characters. Like, come on.
Make some real, but don't expand the roster beyond. Was it 32?
Well, I think what they're gonna do for Splatoon is it'll be male and female. They'll be the same character.
Yeah,
you'll just switch, kind of like with Fire Emblem, and that's fine.
You know, okay, scale back on Fire Emblem, but just on principle, I think it's a little wrong to add in other companies' mascots and take out Nintendo brand characters from Nintendo Fighter.
It's true, but Fire Emblem has enough. Don't you think they have enough representation in Smash?
Yeah, I've yet to play a Fire Emblem game, so okay.
Okay.
I think the good answer for this is to take characters out that are essentially just reskins of other characters. Like, it's bothered me for a long time. It's bothered me for a long time that Ganondorf is essentially just a slow Captain Falcon that is useless in any tournament play.
Yeah.
And Lucina being basically a total just 100% Marth clone.
Right,
that's just
basically.
weaker, but maybe slightly faster.
And like Luigi and Mario, and then Falco and Fox, like there are differences. They are not
they
very big.
definitely are not the same characters for sure.
But they have almost the same moveset. They just, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm okay with it in some instances, but
yeah, I don't know. I just think that they should either make Ganondorf have finally a freaking like energy ball long range attack. Like, please, like, how has this not happened yet?
Where you can play tennis.
Yeah, but if you're gonna make him a clone, like, I don't know. It's just I don't like clones. So if you take out the clone characters and you add in, you know, some of these characters we're talking about, maybe like Crash or something like that. I wonder though, because they didn't bring back Solid Snake for the Wii U version. I don't know if that's a Konami partnership problem or something.
Right, because there were issues. Because apparently Sakurai is friends with Kojima, but Kojima's not friends with Konami anymore. So
I think
there are
issues
issues
where
there.
it's like no longer best friends with what's his name, and like friendship ended with the big X going through it.
I don't
now
know
I'm best friends with so and so.
What, just like a 12-year-old?
No, they're like these Indian guys that made.
Oh,
you have to look it up.
I haven't seen it.
It's funny. Somebody out there gets it.
Anyways,
It's exciting.
I think it's going to be a new one, based solely on the fact that Breath of the Wild Link was the represented Link character there. I mean, I guess it is possible that they decided to add him in or to reskin Link.
I've seen some people saying they think it'll be a reskin, but I think it'll be bullcrap if it's a reskin because he'll have a hook shot.
Yeah, that's the part that doesn't make sense.
Magnesis or something which behaves differently than a hook shot.
Yeah,
right?
True. So he could just be another character. You got Toon Link, you got Twilight Link, now you got Breath of the Wild Link. There's 3 Links.
I don't know. I just find that kind of weird.
Like
I feel like what this means. I feel like what this means is that Link is going to have a new moveset according to his Breath of the Wild abilities.
He can
and
climb
that's going to be this.
Up. You know, you get knocked off the edge, and he'll climb up the wall from the side, the whole way, just like Spider-Man. Yeah, all the way back up.
Unless it's a raining level, and then it'll fall to his death.
Yeah, unless it's raining.
Yeah, because his triple jump now certainly won't be the spin. It'll be the what is it? The glide. Whatever.
Oh, the bird thing. Yeah.
What is it? What is it called in Breath of the Wild? The little glider thing.
Right?
The thing.
Anyways, glider.
For sure, that's got to be.
It would have to be the glider.
Right? So that's why I think it's going to be a new game. But I mean, well, when did the last one come out? That came out
just
2014. 2014.
Oh,
2014.
That's a few more years
so
ago than
that's the other thing that leads me to think that this is a new one.
That's
that it has been. It's coming up on 4 years. If it's released in the fourth quarter, it would be 4 years since the last one. So that would make sense to me.
Also, like Smash Brothers, each time they make a new game, and part of the reason why Solid Snake wasn't in the last one, and like they do have to re-up those character licenses. And the Wii U had a lot, like Cloud, and like a lot of DLC characters, Pac-Man, the Sonic, people that aren't Nintendo that were in these games. That Nintendo people are going to expect them to always be in Smash, but it's like no, these Nintendo needs to drop new contracts each game, and some of these companies may not agree to the terms each time. So even if it is a straight port from the last game, we may not get all the characters that were in that last game. A lot of people would be upset about that. But
all the Pac-Man memes.
Well, like if Cloud isn't, and I've heard Cloud is actually
is a top tier. He's a top tier tournament character,
and so a lot of the hardcore people use, and not to mention just people that aren't like top tier like us, we just like Cloud because he's Final Fantasy, right? If he's not in this new one, that's a problem. But.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait till E3 and probably learn more then.
We will. I have one question though, real quick. I want to bring up something that was brought up last year that Nintendo said was, I believe they said it was coming out this year. Do you guys remember the Shin Megami Tensei
5
Nintendo Directs? Yeah, their initial trailer with the Switch. That said 2018. Am I wrong?
I don't remember.
I don't think it had a.
It didn't have a date. Okay.
I don't think it did, because I think I just read recently that that's still not even totally fully in production yet.
Really? Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a long way off still.
So they did the Tetsuya Nomura thing, and they made a whole trailer and showed off all the assets before they really even knew what the game was going to be about.
Actually making the game. Yeah.
Interesting.
I feel like Nintendo probably pushed for that though.
They were like, just show it. Just put the title.
Anything.
In fact, Nintendo probably made it for them. They're like, we're going to design your characters. Oh, that'd be great.
Okay. Let's move on now to our second topic. This one comes from Squarehard. Squarehard asks, well, it's actually a lot of context here.
It's pretty long.
Where exactly do you draw the line of division between RPGs and other genres of game? For example, I often refer to Breath of the Wild as an RPG due to its combination of having a fantasy setting, its inventory stat system, the player's choice between leveling up health or stamina, and its high level of freedom that allows you to play Link however you wish. I know this is a minority opinion, and many gatekeepers of RPGs regularly scoff at those who confuse Zelda games for RPGs, but should this be the case? Similarly, a friend of mine said recently that his favorite RPG was Shadow of the Colossus, and I didn't have the heart to correct him.
He didn't have the heart.
To him, and I didn't have... Wait, let's see.
To him, and I think a lot of players...
Okay, to him, and I think a lot of players outside of more niche RPG and JRPG communities, the term RPG just means a game with a fantasy-like setting and deep story or world building. While I don't agree with this definition completely, for example, there are plenty of RPGs without a fantasy setting. What's wrong with broadly including games like Breath of the Wild or Shadow of the Colossus under the RPG umbrella? I don't think it would be hard to make the case that those games have more in common with Final Fantasy and Dragon Age than they do Call of Duty or FIFA. So I'm very interested to see where you think the lines of division should be drawn, or if they should be drawn at all. Thanks. So, Daria, what do you think about that? Where would you draw the line for calling something an RPG?
I don't know. He raised a pretty good argument. I'm on board.
Everything, whatever you want.
You know what? Growing up with like Zelda, like as a kid with an NES, my RPGs, I had Ultima, Exodus, Dragon Warrior 1, and Zelda. I didn't question it. It wasn't until the internet came around and people started arguing about it. It's like, what do you mean? It's an action RPG. I hit the button and he slashes the sword. I'm going on quests and dungeons and collecting money and treasure. What's your problem?
It's an action RPG. I don't think anybody would take issue if you put that little sub or the pre-title, whatever. Action RPG.
Oh no, they get angry. They're like, no, it's
not even Zelda's not even action RPG.
People get mad.
No,
I don't know,
straight
with
adventure.
The item system and upgrades and leveling. I don't know. I think it's still an RPG, but
I agree.
It's just an action RPG.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot, there's strategy RPGs and action RPGs. I mean,
see, gatekeepers are like self-appointed and they don't know any more than anyone else.
Yes, they're just people with a lot of time on their hands who are very passionate about their opinions. It doesn't make them right.
And they probably have a 500-page, tirade on what an RPG is and is not. No one else cares.
Okay, so Gatekeeper stepping in.
Oh no, we've insulted his honor. Now he must defend it.
Just kidding. I'm not a gatekeeper in any sense of the freaking word at all. But I do understand where people come from who wouldn't classify Zelda as an RPG, and I think it comes from, but the line really does get pretty blurred because, traditionally, RPGs were based on, the hardcore tabletop D&D style games, right? So it's I create a character, and I role play as that character,
right?
And I can make that character into whatever I want it to be, whether that's a magician, or whether that's a warrior, or whether that's a healer, or cleric, or a rogue, or whatever it is, right?
Dragon Warrior really kind of crapped all over that concept.
Exactly. So that's where JRPGs came in, and they sort of took the baseline concept of all the stats and the math behind calculating damage that came from D&D and tabletop RPGs, but they kind of locked you into something more, linear with its narrative. something where you weren't necessarily role-playing as a character. They had established characters.
With a set story and with its own...
Yeah. But they still had all of the, I guess, mechanics and systems in place that were similar enough to traditional tabletop RPGs that it kind of just carried over and was considered an RPG. And then as a further step from that, you have the idea of dungeon crawling, upgrading equipment, things of that nature that carry over into Zelda. But what it doesn't have is like stats, like agility, vitality, strength, like those sorts of things that you can sort of like upgrade as you see fit to sort of turn the character into, you know, a personalized kind of like version of that character. He makes the argument here in the question that in Breath of the Wild, or is it he that did that, or did somebody say that later?
I think it was in Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, you know, you can approach it different ways, and you can kind of create a more custom Link than maybe someone else who's playing it or something like that, with choosing whether you're going to go with more stamina than heart containers.
Right. And choosing what items of clothing you wear, which has different effects on whether on your speed or your attack power and things like that. Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I see where people are coming from in the sense that it's not stat focused. There's not really classes in Zelda. And I think that's the other thing about JRPGs too, right? So you might not be able to choose for certain JRPGs. I mean, there's stuff like Final Fantasy V, which is like a job system is like super robust, and you can turn them into whatever you want them to be.
Right.
And that's a little bit more akin to the classic idea. But then you have others like, say, Final Fantasy IV, where that's not possible at all. They're all locked into their own unique class. You can't customize them at all. I mean, they level up just when they hit certain levels, right? It's like they get this ability at level 15. You can't customize the abilities at all. However, you have access to a party of characters, and you can choose who comes into the party to fight with you, and you choose which characters, and they bring which abilities you want to use. And there's some level of customization that still sort of exists there, even in a very linear RPG like that one.
Right.
And you just don't quite have that on the same level with something like Zelda, which is more adventure focused.
Yeah, it's more that's true. RPGs, especially when you bring up Dungeons and Dragons, it's all about playing with other people. It's a group activity. It's not something you would typically do alone. Whereas Zelda is the single character kind of running around. I think Zelda also doesn't have like numbers. It doesn't have the you talk about like levels. You talk about how much damage you deal. You talk about like your HP or whatever.
Damage
well, you get the
carry over from rolling the dice or from things of traditional Dungeons and Dragons type stuff, where there is somewhat of a variable there, but the number isn't the same every time. Whereas in The Legend of Zelda, they kind of took the numbers out of it, which makes it feel a lot less like a RPG, but they still do have the elements there. There's just not as much math attached to it, I guess.
I think they definitely abstracted it. Like you level up your sword. You get you do have varying attack powers just through that.
Exactly. There's just not a number there, so it doesn't feel the same.
Which is like a very simplified HP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think for if you're going with kind of a wishy-washy feeling, I think it still captures basically the essence of playing a role-playing adventure.
I think it does too.
And I think anyone who enjoys role-playing games, it's a safe assumption, you're going to like Zelda as well.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
I don't think there's like two different camps of players. Like I think everyone.
I think if you can walk, or no, not even if you can walk, if you can breathe, if you're capable of breathing, you'll enjoy Zelda. So in that sense, it's an RPG.
They're all role-playing games in that sense. But
I think a part of the issue here is like anything people learn a lot about, they get, I don't know, humans want to organize the world around them, right? That's like what we do. We go around sorting data in our brains. Like we take all this input and we just sort it and organize it.
Right.
We have this impulse
the order and chaos.
Organize. Yeah, exactly. And so like the more you learn about anything, the more you want to subdivide and subdivide and subdivide. So like
True.
Like my wife and I are way into bird watching. You can go nuts with that crap. Like you can go super nuts, and so somebody's like, "Hey, a blue jay." I'm like, "Yeah, but see, it's actually a scrub jay, and not you're probably thinking of this thing." Like you can do that with most hobbies, most things. I think the issue comes when something is not obviously 100% in the Venn diagram of the category, right? It's straddling between a couple of genres, or straddling between a couple of things, and then you got to make a call. Like, it is a sea slug, like, what is this thing? You know what I mean? Like, is it its own thing? Is it part of these, but not like all the rest of them, but enough like them to call them that? Or,
right.
You know what I mean?
Ordering, yeah.
So I feel like Zelda is like, there's no question there's RPG elements in Zelda. There's no question it was inspired by RPGs at all.
But the problem is there's RPG elements in
phone games. At this
FIFA,
point, there's RPG.
Call of Duty.
Like they were saying here,
yeah.
There's RPG elements all over the place.
In almost every game.
In a like a feedback loop, psychologically addicting kind of sense.
Yeah. Which is good, because as games have advanced, they're incorporating more player freedom into different genres. And I mean, it doesn't make them RPGs per se, but it definitely makes them more robust and
and more interesting. Yeah, because I think honestly, games nowadays are more complicated in ways that games, especially at this point in time, some of the games we're talking about, they were just the first games to peak out of that arcade era where you were definitely just shooting the things and that was all you were doing. Or you know what I mean? You're definitely just jumping over the things and that was all you're doing. And you have games like Mario where you were jumping over things and you shot some things. And it's like, whoa, no way. And then, you start seeing overlap of genres and making new things, but sometimes it's not obvious what the new thing even is. Now we call Zelda almost its own genre, or like a Metroidvania, like it's a name of a genre, but they oftentimes
it's just a side-scrolling Zelda. It's like,
now the second Zelda, I don't think you could argue that is an RPG.
That's
by any definition.
Yeah, so it's just like, how useful is a description of something when it's still technically correct, but not 100% applies to every aspect of it, right? Because even like Final Fantasy games, they drew like JRPGs even as a whole, they drew a lot more from storytelling conventions that were not in RPGs at the time. But no one would sit there and go, these aren't RPGs, because they're doing they already figured out the story for you.
Well, the D&D people might have been like, what are these RPG video game people doing? That's not an RPG, right? There's like different levels of
it's really interesting. Like the earliest computerized role-playing games really didn't have stories. It was just like, here's a dungeon. Go and kill a bunch of stuff and level your character and assign your stat gains.
Yeah, kill all the things.
And that's what they took from it, and not really the essence of storytelling, which would be what people sitting around a table would do.
True, and that was the true essence of an RPG.
Yeah, it's like they focused on the wrong bit.
Yeah. But then the gatekeepers come around and say, that's not an RPG, you have to have dungeon crawling. But, no, because the D&D people would say, no, that's not an RPG, you have to have a story.
Exactly. And what I think is interesting is even as, tabletop RPGs have evolved, they've taken more of a look at the really hyper story-based stuff that a JRPG, like you said, is character based, and now you've got games where people hand out pre-made characters and it's like, okay, we're telling a very specific story here, you have to be this guy, you have to be that guy, let's see where this goes.
Yeah, for sure.
So
it makes it a lot easier for the DM anyways.
Well, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
In any case, I think my real answer to this is I don't particularly care.
I don't either. Although I will be slightly surprised when somebody refers to Shadow of the Colossus as an RPG, and I'll be like, "Oh, okay," but I won't fight him on it.
I'm not gonna say it's an RPG. I did buy it for I do put it in with my RPG collection because I was like, close enough. It can live next to the.
Yeah.
It's J. It's J.
Yeah.
It's not RPG.
JRE.
It is JR.
And then there's P.
JRG.
It's all of
them. But yeah, I mean, as long as the game's fun,
exactly.
I'm down with it. I don't care to argue semantics about what classifies as an RPG.
Ultima's
not that it's wrong to ask the question.
I'm just kidding.
Not that it's a bad question or anything like that.
That was actually a good question.
I don't
Surprised you haven't had that question like 10,000 times before, but
you know, yeah.
I'm kind of surprised about that too, to be honest.
Our channel's full gatekeepers. Just kidding. That was a joke.
Okay, let's move on to Yunza Provo here. He has a Nintendo question for us. You guys talk a lot about JRPGs, but I know you all love Nintendo, especially Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Could the three of you do your ranking of the Legend of Zelda series? Start with the least favorite and move all the way up to your favorite title in the series. Dude, okay. I haven't played all of them, so, I mean...
You know, I guess I haven't really...
You can put the CDI games right there at the front. Let's just make that easy.
Yeah, but You know, I haven't beat those games.
You don't have to.
Suspend judgment.
No, it's safe. It's a safe assumption. Just write them off.
It's true. So Wanda Game On and what are the other two called?
What's the worst CDI game?
Yeah, see, I don't know where to start. I don't know the worst one of the three.
You know what? Wanda of Gamelon and Faces of Evil, I think, are like equally bad. I think those are definitely the bottom tier. I like Adventure Zelda just a little bit more because it actually feels like a Zelda game. Yeah, that's the one that basically is like a digitized, like it uses live actors, but it looks like a top-down Zelda game. And it's horrible because the loading is like the screens are so tiny, and you have like loading time between every map segment. So the game is just constantly loading.
That's
like, it is not playable.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
But on concept alone, I want to give it the edge.
we'll go with you on that. So
those are the worst ones. Those are the worst ones.
Now, I have not beat most of the Game Boy or DS ones either. I mostly just focus on the console.
I'm gonna come out here and say something that a lot of people aren't gonna like. I think Daria probably won't like this as well.
Probably not.
I don't particularly love 2D Zelda games.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
I don't.
That's a bad opinion. Objectively a bad opinion.
I don't get into them. They never hold my attention ever.
I Link to the Past for me is one of the best games ever made. But other than that, I don't particularly like the other 2D Zelda games either.
Now, I say that while loving what was the first Game Boy one?
Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening is great.
It's interesting.
Link's Awakening is really good.
Link's Awakening is my favorite of the 2D ones. It's up there for all of them too.
I have a hard time with that. Like, I really, really liked it, especially just being the Game Boy, what the Game Boy was at the time. But I was so frustrated because I had played A Link to the Past before that, and I wanted to not just have these two buttons.
Yeah.
The item juggling in that game was like a little more frustrating for me coming off of Link to the Past. Although I still really, really liked the game.
I grew up in like a bizarro world where I like the first game I ever really played and came very near to beating was the original Zelda. Like that was the game I grew up with. And then I didn't have Nintendo again until I think the next Zelda game I played after that was Wind Waker.
Ooh,
so I skipped a lot. I skipped a lot. So when I discovered the GBA and I started getting the Game Boy Color games, like I fell in love with Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons because those felt so much like the first Zelda. This is what the series should be. And I actually like the Capcom games more.
That one is good. The Minish Cap.
Yeah,
Minish Cap. Yeah.
Like I love what Capcom did with the series, and I like those more than Link to the Past. Like I have a really hard time getting into it. I think I came to it way too late.
It's so good. I don't know.
I've tried so many times.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually the same way. Link to the Past, for whatever reason, I do not know why. I have started and not completed at least 7 times.
Like, that sounds like me.
I keep trying, and it's like, dude, I have to like this game. How can I not? Like, it doesn't make any sense. That like freaking hole in the universe for me to not like A Link to the Past.
I'm getting really sick of that opening with that uncle. Like, I'm really tired of playing that part. I don't know what. It's not that I don't like it either, and I should probably put that out there first. I don't dislike 2D Zelda games.
It's that they don't hold my attention through to the end. I don't beat any of them. The only 2D Zelda game I have ever finished is the original game.
I think that was like just on principle too. You were just like, I have to beat this game.
I have to beat it because I just really want to have said I've beaten this game. Yeah. And I remember I was playing on Landon's Wii, I think it was.
Yeah, I remember that.
And on at Battlefield Court, and you were sitting in, and then Eric was sitting in and watching and stuff. And I remember for the last dungeon, Eric and I were just like, dude, I hate this. I hate this dungeon. Just fetching, like, which door am I supposed to go through? Just tell me where to go. I don't want to play this anymore.
That's so funny.
Like, it's not to say that I didn't enjoy it. It's just like I got tired of it before it was over. And I got really stoked to play Oracle of Ages was the one that I got, and my brother got Oracle of Seasons. And I was stoked to start that, and then like halfway through, pittered out. I think I've started Minish Cap 3 or 4 times, pittered out about halfway through, even though I really like that one a lot.
That one's fun.
And my favorite of the 2D Zelda games, which is Link's Awakening, because I freaking love the music. Same thing. I have not finished it. So, and then I started the sequel to A Link to the Past, which is the Link Between Worlds.
Yeah.
I've started that one like 3 times, and like gotten through like 2 dungeons maybe. So,
jeez, man.
I don't know. I cannot tell you. There is no logic behind it. I just get bored. But I love 2D RPGs. Like, I'll play Dragon's Quest all day long. I'll play Final Fantasy all day long. I'll play like all those old school games that have a lot of similar problems with it's tedious to get through a dungeon, especially with encounter rates and stuff like that. But for whatever reason, those will hook me, and the 2D Zeldas don't. So if I'm going to rank them, it's so hard because
there's a lot.
I'm pretty sure I probably have ADHD, so if I had to rate games based on whether or not I finished them, it'd be a very, very small list.
Yeah, I would put at the bottom. I'd probably put like the Seasons and Ages one. I don't know why. I just like. Again, I don't hate these games. I don't dislike them. I don't think they're bad. It just wasn't for me. And then probably like Zelda 1, and then probably Link to the Past. I actually did enjoy Zelda 2 for what it was quite a bit more. So maybe like that one, and then like Minish Cap. I guess I left off Link Between Worlds. Put that one back next to Link to the Past.
I feel like we need a diagram for this.
Yeah. Minish Cap, and then Link's Awakening would be towards the top of my 2D ones. And then when we come up to... Well, actually, no. Let me put the freaking DS ones at the bottom. Holy crap. Phantom Hourglass.
Spirit Tracks.
Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. Now, while I loved certain parts of those games, like I loved the creativity behind using dual screens to like, draw your maps and keep track of where you are. There's a part where you have to like, sort of like print or copy a map onto your map, and you close the DS and open it again, and it prints it down onto your map. Like cool ideas like that I thought were cool, but I hated using the stylus to fight.
Yeah, because you have to. Yeah.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah. Just terrible controls. So those are at the bottom for me. And then with 3D Zelda games, my least favorite 3D Zelda game is Twilight Princess. And that's because it takes so long to get going. Once it gets going, I love it. But it's just like that intro where you're the wolf for freaking so long. It just takes like forever to freaking like get to the game. And then I would probably say Breath of the Wild after that. And then Skyward Sword after that. And then we move into the ones that I think are truly like some of my favorite games of all time, which are Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, Majora's Mask, which are like my top 3. So,
what about Four Swords? What you got for that?
Four Swords is down behind probably A Link to the Past.
What about Four Swords Adventure?
Yeah, same. Same. So those are the ones I've played. and that's probably how I'd rank them.
I don't like that he wants this list, Yuns of Provo, to be made from the bottom up.
It's hard to think of the
because you have to keep it in mind. But I can't do all of them.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I just can't do them all. I'm just gonna give you like my favorite one. I don't. To me, there's not a point in ranking games that I don't like, and they're like 20th. You know, they're like down there in a list of 20. Because I just don't know, and a lot of them I haven't played. A lot of the Game Boy ones I haven't really played. I have played like Minish Cap and stuff, but so those are fun. But my favorite Zelda is probably Wind Waker. And I don't like Majora's Mask as much as you guys. I would probably put Breath of the Wild around this place with Ocarina of Time. That'd be tough for me to decide which one of those is better, but those would be 2 and 3. And then A Link to the Past. And then probably Twilight Princess. I actually really liked Twilight Princess. I enjoy things with slow beginnings because I don't know why. That's just how I am for like everything. So I liked it, although I didn't enjoy playing as the wolf as much either.
I love the art style on that one, though. Love it.
Yeah, it's really cool. Mm-hmm. And then I guess you hit up the Majora's Mask is better than Skyward Sword, though, so we'll do that. And I'll probably just stop there. That sounds like a pretty good list. Oh, Link's crossbow training, and then Tingle's Fairy Adventures is close, like 8th. Tingle's what was it called? Tingle's Rupee Land.
Did you actually play that?
No, but I've.
Okay.
I mentioned it. I go through I made a video where I went through the whole history of Legend of Zelda, and I mentioned Tingle's Rupee Land at the end.
It's technically there.
It is there because I knew people were going to get on me for not mentioning every Zelda game, but Tingle's Rupee Land, man. Like I don't need to mention all of the games. Come on.
Okay. Right now, so it depends on the week. But Majora's Mask / Breath of the Wild are my 2 favorite Zeldas. Behind that it's probably Wind Waker or Link to the Past. Behind that would probably be Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess. Never beaten Skyward Sword, so
you never beat it. You bought that game.
No, the reason why is that the motion control thingy got all jacked.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Like okay,
not that particular Wii remote.
Because I had the extension that went on to the original, ones, and
the one that's built in,
it just
I
want to say I've got like 4 of those. Like I ended up with like so many Wiimotes for some reason.
They're good to defend your home with.
Well, they came with some games. Some games came with the extra little thing, and if you bought enough new games, I think Skyward Sword did, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it did originally.
Yeah.
Well, they had the original like pre-order one that came with the gold controller.
The golden one.
That had it built in.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if we were to go all the way down to like the ones that were probably my least favorite, it's like the Adventures of Link. I haven't really beaten, but I play it and I'm like, all right, I don't know, I just want to keep playing this. Like, I don't not like Link's Awakening, but it's definitely way down there for me. Yeah, I'm trying to think though. There's not really anyone that I don't like, but definitely lower ranking ones for me. That would probably be about it. I still have good memories of the Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons games, but I remember we played them again when Breath of the Wild came out.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing seasons.
Oh yeah, we were streaming,
playing Oracle Seasons. Yeah,
we were doing seasons.
I couldn't figure out what to freaking do. Right?
I know, and I had played Ages, and I think Parker had Seasons. I think, and so I ended up doing the crossover stuff, but I don't know if I even finished that part of it. But yeah, that's probably it for me. So right now, Breath of the Wild, Majora's Mask, my kind of neck and neck for my favorite Zelda right now, because I put a psychotic amount of time into Breath of the Wild. When I went back looking at it, I was like, I probably played more time in Breath of the Wild than Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess combined. Probably not Ocarina of Time, because that was back when we had very few games.
Yeah,
played that game a lot, but
that's true.
Yeah, well, that's probably it for me.
How about you, Daria? Which one's your favorite ones, at least?
Oh, this is gonna win me brownie points with your audience. So I really don't like the N64 games.
Oh dear.
I don't know if I'm just an N64 like hater. I don't.
Well, it's almost like you
skipped. Enjoy them.
You skipped that generation, right?
Yeah.
You went straight to the
It was
GameCube.
very hard to go back to. It's not. It was not very welcoming. I'm like, this is muddy and ugly, and why am I in this? Like, what's this tree want? I don't know. I loved Wind Waker. Like, that's an absolutely gorgeous game.
Yep.
I honestly enjoyed sailing. I know a lot of people had an issue with that, but it was relaxing, and I liked going to the different islands and crossing off on my map, like where I've been and where I haven't been. Like,
yeah,
that was just a very peaceful game, and I really, really enjoyed it. I also loved Four Swords. Like, when you actually have enough people to play it with, and you have the 4 GBA set up, it's just an insanely fun party game.
It is fun.
And you will make enemies, but
you can hit each other and take stuff.
there's definitely friendly fire and not so friendly fire. I hated the train game. Like, I liked Zelda's the ghost kind of following you around. Like, that was kind of cool, but the actual act of playing it, not so much. And again, with the touch controls, like terrible. I can't get into drawing with the stylus in most games. I mean, I guess say definitively that that's a deal breaker, but for that one, it certainly was. I really liked the Capcom ones. I enjoyed Ages and Seasons. I can't remember which one was which, but I felt one was way more puzzle based, and one was more combat based, and I enjoyed the puzzle one more.
Yeah, for that, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you anymore.
Yeah, it's been too long. Never played Triforce Heroes. Never played the sequel to Link to the Past, which I should probably try at some point. Yeah, I still need to pick that one up. I just bought Breath of the Wild, so I actually got a semi-new game, but I haven't opened it yet.
You gotta play it. That game is killer.
Yeah, I've heard it described as Zelda but Skyrim, so that piques my interest.
Sure. Yeah, that's interesting. Sure. All right.
I think that describes my Zelda.
It's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, I love Alundra. That's kind of like Zelda.
Alundra is sweet. Alundra is really sweet.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite games.
You'll win points on our channel with Alundra for sure. Alundra's great. Okay, thank you for your question, Janza Provo. By the way, can't wait to see you when you come up to our meetup, our local meetup on March 23rd.
March 23rd.
He's going to be there for it. Stoked. Okay. Xylon73 has our next one. So this is actually my first podcast question. Way to go. Nice to have you on. So I thought I'd keep it simple. What is your favorite battle system in RPGs? Or if you don't have a favorite, what would be an ideal one for you? What keeps you engaged? My personal favorite is the Tales series, Tales of series, especially Tales of Xillia 2. There's so much control with the character and you play, and it's really dynamic. I feel like I'm really there. Okay. Favorite RPG battle systems?
Well, I alluded to this earlier, but probably the most fun I've had playing an RPG is Bowser's Inside Story. I think that there's a lot of interesting stuff with the special attacks, with the little almost like mini game type stuff that they add. The timed stuff I've always liked ever since Mario RPG. I've really enjoyed that. Just it's one of the few RPGs that I've played where at the end of the game I'm not like, crap, I have to fight somebody again.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like I usually, like, even other RPGs that I really enjoy, like Pokemon, I'm just like, by the end I'm just like, I don't want to fight you. I want to go to the next place. I want to fight anybody else. And so but I never had that feeling in this game, and that might be one of the few RPGs where that's happened for me. So I would say, and probably it really just comes down to the sheer variety and kind of like surprise, like genuine surprise at like some of the things that you can do in the battle system. And like you're at the end of the game and they're still teaching you like, oh, here's this crazy special attack. that you could pull off if you wanted. And there's like a skill cap to it, really. I mean, well, there's kind of a high skill ceiling, I guess I should say, where you can actually get really, really good at some of these things, but they're not easy to do. It's not just like, oh yeah, right, I figured out how to do the timed hits, or oh yeah, sure, you tap all the things and then it does 100% of the damage. It's like some of these things are really hard to pull off timing wise, and if you don't use an attack for like a long time, you get out of practice, and then like you're like, crap, I need to do this again, and it's like, shoot,
you don't know
suck
how.
at this. They have a little spot in the menu where you can just practice the special attacks, which was, I think, pretty smart. But,
yeah, it's handy.
yeah, I think that for me, that's one that comes to my mind.
Nice.
It's a good.
I like all the Mario RPG battle systems because they just have all those timed elements kind of thrown into it that just, and especially the Mario and Luigi series, they throw a lot more stuff at you. It's like you gotta block and dodge and do these attacks in tandem, and like they just have a lot of really interesting ones.
Well, and like it gets even more interesting because Mario and Luigi, at least in the Game Boy Advance Superstar Saga, I think they jump at different heights and different speeds.
Yes.
It makes it really hard.
Yeah,
to
I love that.
For dodging certain attacks and things. Yeah, but it's cool. It's like you're way more focused.
And they have their own buttons, so you're not just in the same one. Yeah.
That's my favorite Mario RPG game is Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. I freaking loved that game.
Good ones.
I probably agree with Landon. I don't know.
Everybody loves Mario RPGs.
I don't know of a better system that's done. I know of more complex systems, but that doesn't necessarily mean better. And then action RPGs tend to be button mashers. So I would probably have to pick Mario RPG and the Superstar Saga, the Mario and Luigi games, for that perfect balance. I haven't played a ton of those games, though, but I've played one. I
really, really liked what both Bravely Default did with an RPG battle system, and then what Radiant Historia did. So in Radiant Historia's case, there's like a grid that the enemies are on, and they're in different places on the grid. And the idea is to move them with attacks on the grid so that you try to get them onto the same square, and then hit them with a final attack that hits all the enemies at once. And so, like, there's just constantly, like, these different abilities that are meant to sort of, like, move the characters in different directions on that grid and sort of pull them towards you, push them away, right or left, all that kind of stuff. I found that to be very interesting and engaging. Like Landon said, for most turn-based RPGs that I've played, by the end, I start getting pretty darn sick of fighting. It's like, dude, I do not want to fight anymore. I'm so tired of this. It's just trash enemy after trash enemy, just interrupting my exploration, right? So, but two games in which that never happened for me were Bravely Default. One, because you can turn the random battles off if you want. But also because
it's the best feature in a turn-based RPG ever.
Yes, absolutely.
Seriously, super cool. Well, I guess I should start Radiant Historia. Radiant Historia was just always interesting, like, because it's not just the types of enemies they're throwing at you, but it's the fact that they can be in different places on the grid, which changes how you approach fighting and which abilities you use and in which order. That game also had a really heavy emphasis on turn order, so it's like you would want to skip a character's turn so that you could get enough turns in a row with your party members in order to do the moves to end on like a really strong attack that like knocks them all out in one turn.
Dude,
rather than it be interrupted, right?
Yeah, what if they did that in baseball? You could skip your turn
and then you hit the ball
and then get it, you know.
Let them hit so that you can come up and have like 6 outs in a row or whatever.
That's right.
So go ahead.
Sorry. I was thinking about this question. I couldn't come up with like one battle system that really encompassed everything I liked. But there are a bunch of different games that had elements of a battle system that I loved. Like Grandia and like the Atelier games have that like initiative at the top. And your special moves like will knock an enemy back. Like I really love that, and I could, you know, if you play it right, you can just make sure the enemy never gets a damn turn.
Right.
Yep.
Like that's
easy to take advantage of. Yeah.
So that I really liked. I tend to really enjoy, if the game's done well, you know, tactical RPGs, because it's very battle system based. I prefer them when it's not just battle after battle after battle. Like that, I started to get a little fatigued. But, I mean, that's generally how most of them are built. I particularly liked Phantom Brave. Just in particular because you could... Everything was a potential weapon. Like, I remember picking up, like, fir trees and signs and fish. And, like, I had, like, these birdmen that were beating the crap out of people with Christmas trees.
Nice.
Like, that was so satisfying somehow.
That's awesome.
Another system I really liked was Breath of Fire 4. Which is more of a turn... It's another turn-based RPG. But, okay, so you're playing an RPG and you get this roster of characters. And in Breath of Fire 4, I think you get 6. And it always bugs me how you're trying to save the world, but only 3 people are ever going to fight at a time. Like, what are the other people doing? They're just sitting there with their thumbs up their ass? Like, no, get in there, be useful. So Breath of Fire 4 would let you swap out characters in the middle of a battle. So if someone wasn't well suited for the enemies you were fighting, or maybe they had gotten hurt or poisoned or something, you could just be like, okay, tag team, you're in now. And I really wish we'd see more of that used.
Yeah, that would be sweet to see more often for sure.
I believe Final Fantasy 12 lets you do that. You can kind of just swap out in battle at any point. Yeah.
Yeah, FF10 does that. That's why I like FF10. In terms of Final Fantasy games, turn-based Final Fantasy games, 10 I think has the best battle system I've played because of that reason. You can switch characters out at will. It's really cool. Yeah, well, Bravely Default, the other thing I love about that is like you can be super aggressive, like go all out, just like brave all of your turns, and like then you're vulnerable for like a bunch of turns in a row, but you could kill the guy like right away. And then sometimes that's like legit, like what you should do. Like you don't want to play defensively because that game can be pretty tough. But at the same time, there are other instances where it's like, okay, you bide your time, you wait, and you let them attack you a bunch of times, but then you get like all these turns, and you just go bam, bam, and you just, so, and you can mix it up between characters too. One person could go all out, and then someone else could be defensive. It's just really really, really deep battle system in Bravely Default. So that would be my other answer. But
that's a good one. It's definitely a fun game.
Yeah,
one game I think has a good battle system that no one really talks about much is Eternal Sonata. So
I haven't played it.
It's a lot like Tales, or I guess the early Star Ocean games, where you're running around like a 3D plane.
Star Ocean has a killer battle system.
Yes, very Star Ocean-ish. Yeah. But it does this like light and shadows thing where your characters will get certain abilities if they're standing in darkness or if they're standing in light.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I had a lot. I just had a lot of fun with that one. That's fun, it kept you couldn't just mindlessly play it. You really had to think about what you were doing.
Yeah, I have that game. I haven't played it, but I own it. It's on my freaking. I have it on my PS3 full freaking shelf over there.
I enjoyed it a lot. Just don't try to think too hard about the story.
That's what I've heard. But I'm also learning to really enjoy Chrono Cross's battle system. It's quite complex and layered, and it takes a little while to get used to it, but it is pretty cool. But I haven't beat it yet, so I'll stop talking about that game now. Okay, let's move on to our last one. We might need to get through this one a little quick. Wrap up. But so the setup to this is from Dude McGuy. Many game companies have franchises that are relied on to sell many copies and reach a wide audience for the company. These games are often given a large budget with long development time in order to be high quality and hopefully build loyalty between the customer and the company brand over a long period of time. For Nintendo, these would be Zelda, Mario, Pokemon franchises. For Square, Enix, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, Dragon Quest. So he's talking about tentpole franchises there. His question is, what game or series that is currently not a tentpole franchise, for example, Pikmin, F-Zero, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, the Mana series, etc., do you think has the most potential to break out into the next, as the next blockbuster success for a game company? And what changes do you think would need to be made to that game series in order to reach the mainstream success? This question was inspired by Monster Hunter World's recent breakout success in the West. I'm wondering what game series you think could be the next big thing to blow up in the mainstream.
Good question.
So, you know, I mean, this isn't really fall under his topic because it wasn't an established franchise before that could then break into mainstream. But I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn was just phenomenally successful last year as a brand new thing. I'm assuming that's going to become a mega franchise moving forward now. But what could be that isn't that yet? That is maybe a long running franchise. I'll be honest. This isn't a great answer. This is not a great answer, but I feel like Star Fox has every right to be huge like that, and isn't because those games just are not developed with much care anymore.
Not as much.
Like, I remember I discovered Star Fox with Star Fox 64 at like a end of the year baseball party at the coach's house kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So like the coach's son had Star Fox and they were doing the multiplayer split screen thing in the basement. And I was just blown away. Like, what the heck? Because I loved Star Wars and like especially any games that did like aerial kind of like space battles and stuff. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And so like I was way interested in it. It had this perfect blend to me of Saturday morning cartoon sort of like style acting that was really well done and funny and quotable and iconic without being just cheesy to the point of like rolling your eyes and not taking anything seriously. I mean, you don't take it seriously anyways, but it was fun. And they've never recaptured that since then. The game mechanics have felt really clunky. Like Star Fox 64 was just on point mechanically, just like felt perfect to play it. Like I never felt like I was out of control or that it was not moving perfectly with me or whatever. It was the right feel for pace too. And I feel like they tried to do service to it with that last one, Star Fox Zero, but forced the motion controls on people. And I feel like if they would just figure out what they did right with Star Fox 64 and just make a freaking good shooter like that again, like it could be super, super cool and fun and blow up again like it did at that time. But I don't think that's the best answer.
I feel like for my suggestion, this probably belays my my fandom for a particular series. But if Sega like weren't complete idiots and would actually treat their IPs with the respect they deserve, I think they could have had something with Shining Force in the current kind of gaming culture. Disgaea kind of passed them up. Fire Emblem definitely passed them up, and they refuse to go back to strategy RPGs. Like they will not touch them. They won't. I mean, I guess I've done a few on like 3DS, but they're not what they used to be.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they were to do a home console strategy game that blended, you know, role-playing elements with the battle system like they're known for, I think they could have like a really phenomenal popular game again, and that they won't. So I guess my suggestion is, I don't know, they need to be president or something. I don't.
Yeah.
Need to fire some people.
Probably do. You know, this probably isn't a great answer. Mike, I think your answer to Star Fox is pretty good because that one's definitely been misused. I would say right now, going with the theme of Monster Hunter World, Capcom is totally abusing Mega Man at this point in time.
Oh, geez,
I think
yes.
Mega Man,
It's about time.
theoretically, each Mega Man game could be as big as a Mario game release, I believe.
Oh, absolutely.
The potential of Mega Man, and they just aren't realizing at all. It's
And just
weird.
the name too, Mega Man. Like, that name sticks. Like, there's a lot of value to that.
Yeah, totally.
It's crazy.
It's just with the heritage there and everything. It used to be huge, but yeah,
Mega Man's a great answer.
That could be rehabilitated if they cared enough.
Jeez. I don't really know. I don't know that I have a super good answer for this one. because it would have to be one that's already established. I mean, there's a lot of games I like Professor Layton. That would be pretty sick if it was a huge tentpole, but that's kind of not what that game is. You know, it's not. I wouldn't like it if the stories were told in any different way than they're currently being told, which is a very, very straightforward, very, you know, there's not a ton of like 3D animation and stuff, and you're not.
I can't imagine what like a AAA Professor Layton would look like.
I know, what would it even look like? It wouldn't be a game anymore. So I'd hate to put my favorite game through that. It's not my favorite game, but you know, it's up there. I like those games a lot.
You wouldn't even say that Nancy Drew has more potential.
But here's the thing: for the company that makes Nancy Drew, which is Her Interactive, that is their tentpole. It's their tent. It could be bigger for the company.
They just have a small tent, but it's there.
It's a small tent. You've got a little twig, but that's Nancy Drew.
It's just everyone
Those
knows
games
Nancy
are good.
Drew. Everyone knows.
Everyone does. You're right, and that
my mom plays Nancy Drew games, and she doesn't play anything else. So
I have played every single Nancy Drew game that's ever come out. There's about 30, and they haven't released one in more than 2 years now. And I'm wondering if this company
jonesing for a Nancy Drew fix.
I need
because they named it Nancy Drew versus 13, and you knew right away.
Oh, it's in purgatory. So yeah, I don't have like a great answer for it, but there are a lot of series like oh geez, I don't even know. I probably couldn't. Games like Harvest Moon, like the game was so good back in the day, long time ago.
Stardew Valley. Like,
Stardew Valley has brought it back. You're right.
They took it and ran with it. It's sorry.
So it's better,
Marvelous May. You guys missed out. Stardew Valley showed you up.
I know, because Harvest Moon hasn't been anything for more than 15 years now. It hasn't really produced anything of significant quality.
No.
Which is Natsume.
Okay. Natsume is the publisher. They stole the name. They ran off with their own thing.
Right.
Story of Seasons is where the series. Yeah, that's where the series is currently.
I have played those too. Not all of them, but some of them. And
the Popolacroy game is excellent.
Is it really? Because I was looking into that.
Actually,
fantastic.
I was looking into that. Huh.
And now I'm a little biased because I love Popolacroy in general, but yes, that one is a really, really good mashup, and it's beautiful, and the voice acting is wonderful.
Cool.
It's just worth a playthrough.
That's a little more along the lines of Rune Factory, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have like adventuring and farming.
But I mean, Stardew Valley brought back adventuring, so it's not. I mean, those two are now. Yeah, those two are now closely intermingled. You can't go back to just farming. Like that's. They've surpassed that point. You can't take away features now. We expect this. Can't just
so
farmers
you're right.
anymore.
The mantle of Harvest Moon, while not being carried by the Harvest Moon name anymore, is still being served by other companies.
Yeah.
So
by other individual human beings.
That's true, or by sometimes one person in a closet who made a better game, which is hilarious.
I want Capcom to bring back Breath of Fire. I think they could. I think they could do well with that if they would do it.
It's a Capcom theme here. Oh, Capcom.
Yeah. Well, another fuck up. Next, now we need to trash Konami and be like, "Where's our Suikoden?"
We need Suikoden back, dude.
Suikoden, yeah.
We need Suikoden back.
That's true. They made 3. Did they make 3 Suikoden games, or just 2?
They made 5.
They made 5.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one then. If that could rise, I've only really played the first one though.
There's 7.
There's 7.
One in the tier prize.
Holy cow.
Holy crap! Oh yeah, the TR Crest, the one on the DS, right?
Well, there's 2 on DS because there's Suikoden Tactics on DS also.
Oh,
right.
I did have an idea though. I thought
maybe that was PS2. Now I'm confused.
Yakuza.
Yeah, I thought of the Yakuza games, and those are not super big.
But they're
getting big.
They are there. And that would be cool if those became, a new.
Because people finally realized, no, it is not Japanese GTA. Like everyone thought it was just Japanese GTA.
Yeah.
And you look at the game for 5 minutes and you quickly realize like what the crap. This is like its own genre of something. I know
it's so weird. It's so different.
It's weird.
I always thought of it as kind of like a spiritual successor to Shenmue, kind of.
I think definitely.
Okay.
And it's by Sega, so that's probably what it is. It was probably Shenmue 3, and it's Yakuza now. They have Yakuza 6, I think, is coming out now, which is crazy.
Yeah. So those are our answers. As good as it be. I think Mega Man was a good one. I should have thought of that.
That was good.
Yeah, no.
You should have thought of it, Mike.
I should have thought of it.
Come on,
What's
man.
wrong with me?
Star Fox wasn't bad though. That's surprising. I haven't done more Fox.
I mean, Fox is everyone's main in Melee, and
come on, make a good game with Fox in it. Come on.
Yeah.
One more very, very quick thing. This is kind of like a more like a yes or no thing for you, Daria. Walrus wanted to know whether or not you had any plans of covering Lunar Silver Star Story, the Sega CD version of it. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Specifically, the Sega CD, probably not. I think for me, the definitive version on that is on PlayStation. If I am to cover it, that would be the one I would go back to.
Oh, snap.
Fighting words.
The music, I will say the music in the Sega CD one's better. But it's muddier, and I think they improved the story on PlayStation by having, spoiler, Luna join the party longer. Like she's with you longer. And I think for what happens to her towards the end of the game, you need that extra time to really attach yourself to the character. Otherwise, who really cares? It's Alex's girlfriend. And it really bugs me that the Sega CD one's in all caps. I don't know. That just it's I read it like everyone's shouting at me.
Who did that?
Well, what do you have coming up on your channel? Anything exciting you're working on right now?
Yeah, I'm working on a video right now that I'm writing the script for. Is 8 criminally untranslated Sega RPGs. Taking a look at stuff that was released on the Mega Drive that didn't get translations, Sega CD, and some bootleg Chinese games.
Nice.
I would like to see.
Nice. Looking forward to that. That'll be a cool video.
I'm excited about that one. I think it's definitely a different topic. That seems to be the theme for my channel.
Yeah.
But
in my last Dark History video, I mentioned Sega Gaga, which is a Dreamcast game that was never translated. That I think people in America would get a kick out of.
Have to check that one out.
Sega Gaga.
Sega Gaga, or SGGG is I think what they called it in Japan.
What the kids call it.
I see. So it's kind of a play. They're kind of going with a play of words on there because Sega.
Exactly, and it was
go with the G's.
Exactly, they're kind of making fun of themselves in there.
You know what looked really cool on Dreamcast? I wish we would have gotten was the El Dorado series, which I guess was like one of the first kind of episodic games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a 2D RPG series that they released, multiple discs for before there was .hack. So it always looked really cool, but obviously I don't read Japanese, so I don't know what the hell's going on. But
that's a problem.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Daria. Really appreciate it. Everyone watching, go and watch her channel. Look forward to that video that she's coming out with. But you guys got to go see the SNES's Fans Guide to Genesis RPGs. A lot of cool games mentioned in there I'd not heard of that I want to try out now. So,
and when you're done looking at that, check out the role-playing games on Sega Game Gear because no one else did.
Give that one a like.
So
give that one a watch.
The original Nintendo Switch.
Get some more views. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. For those listening to us audio only, you can find our YouTube channel, Dark Pixel Gaming, and watch this podcast instead of listening to it, unless you're at work, of course. Don't want to be watching videos at work, but appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate all the support from everyone, and we will see you again next week. Peace out.